Welcome back to today's Family Connection Point. Today we're in 1 Timothy chapter 5, verses 17 through 25, and we're talking about the honorable task of being an overseer. In 1 Timothy chapter 3, we've already learned that it is a good thing to desire the office of overseer. This is an honorable task. It's you're working for the Lord. And so I'm going to ask my kids, what are some honorable occupations, some things that are worthy of respect? Now, I think a lot of occupations are worthy of respect. In fact, I think if you work as a garbage man, or just what some people would consider a menial task, but you're doing that to support your family, I personally think that is super honorable, and I want my kids to know that as well. So we're going to talk about that. But there are some tasks that we respect because of their position, and here's the idea: an elder. An overseer is one who represents the Lord. He is the under shepherd. And so he spends his time working for the Lord. He devotes himself fully to the work of the Lord. He spends his time studying the scriptures. And so we should honor them. And one of the ways we should honor them is in compensation. We should pay them. Now this is different in every different culture and context. It doesn't give us a prescription on how to pay them or anything like that, but it just says they are worthy of compensation. In fact, Paul says it this way. He says if they rule well, which is the qualifier, if they're an elder that rules well, they are worthy of double honor. And so the idea here is to take care of the people who are taking care of you spiritually. And he gives an illustration of an ox, and he says, don't muzzle the ox. The idea there is the oxen would be used to trample down the wheat so that it would be capable of being used to cook. And what's being said there is allow the ox to eat while it's doing the work, or eventually the animal can't work anymore. And so we want to make sure we're taking care of the needs of our pastors. Now we have to balance that again with one of the qualifications we've seen earlier in this passage, or in this book, where it says one of the qualifications of an elder is that they're not a greedy person, they're not a lover of money. See, this isn't about getting rich, this is about taking care of their needs so they can devote their full attention to the work of the ministry. And so that's the first way we show honor. The second way we show honor is that when people bring accusation against an elder, it needs to be supported by 2 or 3 witnesses. We need to get the facts straight. And so here's the truth. The devil is active in the church, and he wants to destroy leadership. And so we don't want leaders who are openly sinning to be leading us, but we also want to be very careful that we just don't take everyone's accusation at face value. This is a super important thing. In fact, this is a good principle to just put forth on all accusations, but especially these right here. We're not to be partial because of their position. You know, if they're wrong, we need to make sure that we deal with it correctly. And then it says how to deal with it correctly. It says that because these folks are public leaders, if it's established that they are in sin, that it should be dealt with publicly, ultimately, so that others will know how serious this is. These are leaders. They're leaders, yes, in righteousness, but they're also leaders in other areas as well. And so we want to deal with this in a very public way when one of the elders is in sin. So again, it has to be established. We can't be partial, and then it needs to be dealt with publicly because of their position. This is a position worthy of honor. We need to take care of our pastors. We need to pray for our pastors, pray for their holiness, pray for their study of God's word, pray for their decision making. And so what we're going to do right now is we're just going to stop and we're going to pray. We're going to thank the Lord again for our pastors, but we're also going to pray that God would guard them, that God would take care of their needs, that God would use us to take care of their needs, and thank the Lord for them. That's our lesson for today. I hope that was helpful. I'll see you tomorrow.